Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Global Meditation Series, which we're going to be doing once a week. We're going to be doing the 6 principles, and we'll do 1 principle per week. And today we're starting with mindfulness. So I just want to say a few things before we get started. One is that mindfulness changes the brain, and it changes the brain in ways that we will find very helpful in psychotherapy. And I'm going to be making some quotes from the Mindfulness Project at Oxford. And basically they say that the brain changes because the insula uncouples from the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. I know that's a lot of syllables, but basically all it means is that the insula is the part of the neocortex that's associated with empathy and internal body sensations. And that the activity of the insula uncouples from the part of the brain, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, that creates the narrative about the self, generating stories about ourselves. So you can see why this would be very helpful in psychotherapy. We're actually having a part of the brain that's really more focused on mindfulness and internal cues, uncoupling from the part of the brain that's talking to ourselves, the dialogue that we have with ourselves all day long. And that separation allows us to get some distance from the internal dialogue that we have. So that can be very helpful when whatever we're studying in psychotherapy. So there's 3 basic activities that facilitate this uncoupling of the insula from the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. And the 3 activities are mindfulness, present moment body awareness, and compassion. And we're going to want to practice all 3 of those this morning. And it's kind of convenient for us as a body-centered psychotherapy that those are the 3 activities that promote this uncoupling: mindfulness, present moment body awareness, and compassion. So mindfulness activates those compassion centers without activating the stories that often turn into overthinking or rumination. When we're overthinking and ruminating, it actually creates the same neural signature in the brain that accompanies running away from predators. So that's obviously a very old mechanism in the brain, and that same neural signature comes up when we're overthinking and ruminating. It's as if in our brain we're trying to run away from our own thoughts. So when people are not mindful, also the amygdala part of the brain, which is like the smoke alarm part of the brain, which underlies fight or flight, it's a really old part of the brain. It becomes chronically overactive. So for people that are depressed or overthinking or perseverating, that their brain starts to be overactive. And this mindfulness practice actually damps down the activity of the amygdala. It makes the amygdala quieter. It lets there be a separation between the part of the brain that's just being with internal cues and mindfulness and compassion from the internal story. So that means people get less stressed, and they are less likely to respond to their own negative thinking. So this is a very helpful part of why we use mindfulness in our actual practice of psychotherapy. So let's do some practice of mindfulness right now. And we're going to study 2 different ways of being. And the 2 ways are, I'm going to call the first way, what is going to happen next? We're in that mode a lot of the time, particularly during this time of coronavirus. A lot of our clients are in that mode of, oh, what's going to happen next? And that creates a certain mode in our body and our psychology. And the second mode we're going to study in mindfulness is just resting in the present moment, something that we all could probably use more of. And that's where I think we'll actually see that uncoupling happening. I think you can actually feel it when your brain uncouples from the internal dialogue. There's more distance between your thoughts, emotions, and so forth that come up. You're less identified with those parts of your experience. Okay, so let's close our eyes if that's the way you do mindfulness. And let's, as we close our eyes, just start to feel the mode of what's going to happen next, how we feel that in our bodies. So you might feel like you're in your eyes, you're looking for what's going to happen next, your ears, you're hearing for what's going to happen next. You might feel some tension in your shoulders, your neck, your gut, and just feel yourself in that mode of what's next going to happen to my internal experience, what's going to happen next with my children, what's going to happen next with my job, all those kinds of thoughts that we have that keep us in anticipation mode. And feel the sense of anticipation in your body. And as you feel that anticipation mode, you might even feel yourself leaning forward in your chair, your shoulders getting more tense. We're not going to stay here the whole time, but just notice this kind of mode. And this is when you're kind of merged with your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations, your perceptions. So there's no uncoupling happening in the brain between the insula and the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. So just feel that state when you're really identified with each thought, each emotion, that tension in your body, that feeling in your gut. And let's start to switch from that mode of what's going to happen next to just resting in the present moment. And we can start with your body, just feeling your pelvic floor and the back of your legs resting in the chair in the present moment. You can feel your back resting against the back of the chair. And since this first principle we're going to be working with is mindfulness, let's just be curious about each inhale and exhale. And just feel how deep in your body you feel each inhale. And just notice if you can feel each inhale all the way down to your pelvic floor. Just the slight displacement of your organs, your lungs, all the way down to your pelvic floor. You might notice your shoulders beginning to relax. Just being curious about your breath. You might notice that all the effort is on the inhale. So in your lungs, all that effort is on the inhale. And the exhale just happens by itself. And just let that exhale happen by itself. And as you stay with that inhale and exhale, just noticing how your internal awareness is changing. And you're beginning to hopefully just rest in the present moment. And just feel your body just kind of yielding into the connection with the chair. Your legs making an indentation in the chair as you relax into the support of the chair. And you might even begin to feel that slight distinction between the experiencer or the observer and the thinker. So thoughts come and go, emotions come and go. Perceptions come and go. And you're just resting in the observer. And just feel that resting. Nothing to do or to accomplish at the moment. And just letting the thoughts, emotions, perceptions, sensations, just letting them come and go. Doesn't mean you cease to have thoughts. Thoughts come up, perceptions come up, but you're just letting them come and go, and you're just resting in the observer. Just feeling the sensation of each inhale and each exhale. And the sounds in the room come and go, not fighting against that, just letting them come and go. And just notice how this experience of just resting in the present moment in your body, feeling the sensation of each inhale and exhale, resting in the observer. You might even begin to feel that sense of emergency or urgency in that what's going to happen next. That urgency begins to relax. Just feeling the sensation of each inhale and each exhale. Perhaps the muscles in your face begin to relax, around your eyes. Nothing to see or do right now. Perhaps just letting your jaw hang slightly open, relaxing your TMJ. Really sitting back into the chair, just resting in the present moment. Just letting thoughts come and go and emotions come and go. Just resting in the observer. And you might even notice how this changes psychology, to just be resting in the observer. Not identified with every thought or feeling that comes up. And this is what we mean by the word presence. Just being present in your body, present with whatever arises. Open to whatever sounds, thoughts come up, but not identified with them. Just letting them come and go. It's like a state of no resistance to life. And there's a Buddhist sutra that says, everything you need is present in the present moment. We don't even have to believe that sutra, but just as an experiment, just feel the nourishment of just resting in this moment. See if you get a sense of some element of truth to that sutra. The nourishment of just being present in this moment. Present in your body, resting in the observer. And you might even imagine what it would be like to go through your day in this state of restful alertness. Things arise, you attend to, but you're still resting in this presence in your body. And if you're willing, let's open our eyes just slightly, perhaps downcast. Still resting in the observer. Just letting the sounds fall into your ears, the visual perceptions just fall into your eyes. And you're still just resting in the observer. It's like the experience of yourself before you put on your personality or your character strategy. Just resting in the observer, that mindful, restful alertness. And this may be the internal experience of when there's that uncoupling of the insula from the internal dialogue. Okay, so that's our meditation for today. We'll see you again next week. As you go back into your life and into whatever you're doing today, see if every now and then you can just check in with this sense of restful alertness, the observer, and just resting in that. Being totally present with what arises in your life, but not resisting it. Okay, thank you so much. And for those of you who would like to, we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.